Hello everyone, welcome back to Art Block. I'm Cable Provider. You know me from, I don't even know how many of these I've done, but today I have my guest, SiggyKuu. Siggy, how are you?
I'm here. I'm alive. I think that's what matters, you know.
It's good to have you here. Typically with Art Block, I like to know a lot about the people I have on and just kind of talk a little bit about the things that you do. And I know you have a current comic ongoing, right? Called Various Everythings.
Yeah, I do. I kind of it's on a mild hiatus because I'm working on something else now, and it's taking up more of my time.
I see. I see. In regards to and you don't have to talk about anything that if it's something new you're working on, you don't have to speak on it. But for just in general, like the approach to actually making the comic and starting it out, can you tell me a little bit about what went into deciding I want to do a slice of life comic?
I actually don't know. I think I just wanted to make a story, and it just became a slice of life. I suppose I like a lot of different genres, but I guess slice of life really caters to me specifically. I guess because I also kind of grew up watching lots of slice of life anime, so I think
Same.
that contributes to it just a little.
No, I could see it totally. Like, I personally like those as well too. They have a very sort of chill vibe where you can just kind of go along with them and you don't have to be so aggressively keeping track of every little detail. It's like sometimes I like just watching people make food or just go to
Yeah.
school.
I think slice of life could be a bunch of different genres. Like you could mix a bunch of other genres into it. So I found out, and I guess fantasy was my big draw because I liked a lot of fantasy growing up as well. So
Oh, nice. Growing up, did you have any specifics that were super they caught your attention almost immediately?
unfortunately, Harry Potter was one of them, but I kind of deviated off of liking Harry Potter over time, not because of the JK, but also I lost interest after the movies finished, and I was like, well, that's enough, no more of this. And I watched and enjoyed other stuff I know World of Warcraft is one of them. That's a more recent fantasy enjoyment for me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, heck, what else? Oh, there's so many out there. It's kind of hard for me to actually know what really did get me. I think Homestuck is another one. It's not slice of life, obviously, but it has a lot of elements that you could put slice of life in as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it just kind of fits pretty well with it, but it's not exactly that.
Yeah.
And this is just something I'm a little curious because I actually one of the art pieces I remember catching of yours that I really liked was the Daria stuff you were working on a while back. The
Oh, thank you.
I'm a huge Daria fan, and it's when I saw them, it was I actually had to step aside to go and try and start drawing Daria stuff because I was like, damn, I'm back in the mood for it again.
Yeah, Dario was I watched it at the right time in my life. It came out when I was pretty much a little kid, but when I actually discovered it, I was pretty much at the age range where you're late high school, early college age, and it really hit me because they talked about a lot of things that I just could not understand. And just seeing something from the late 90s still apply to me, which at the time was the late 10s, made me go, okay, I am heard, even though it just took me a while to see it. But I think that, yeah, Daria is another slice of life that really caught me, and I think it also influenced my humor and or how I characterize characters and all that.
No doubt. Do you think it also affects beyond just humor, but the writing aspect of doing a comic as well?
Yeah, after making comics for oh, it's been a long time. It's really hard to know how long I've been doing it. I'm gonna say since 2012-ish. So it's been about 10 years since I started making more comics. granted, when I turned 18, the moment I thought was like, I could finally make Not Safe for Work and it's okay. And I've always been influenced by Not Safe for Work artists as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, I always liked how they made comics, and I always liked comics. I wanted to be an animator, more or less, but I found that to be really time consuming and I'm impatient. So comics were my next option, which sounds really weird since comics also take a while, but it's like, it's less frames to deal with, so
less frames,
there's that.
Less having to go back and like, because there is a lot of work that definitely goes into comics too. I've tried animating and I very rarely do it because it's so much.
You have to just find the right thing that really gets you to want to continue, which I know it's really hard for like a lot of people, but like just seeing others animate made me want to do passive animation when I could, because I have done a bit of it growing up, like before I did comics a little more regularly, but they're all like stuff I made when I was like 14, so it's like I wouldn't count it, but it shows that I've been doing stuff, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a little notch to put on the belt, even if it's like from 14, like from when you were 14.
Yeah.
You said something that I find interesting, which is that, you know, it can be hard for some people to, like, you know, find the thing that'll click for them, or to, like, you know, find a way to sort of like get into the headspace of it.
Yeah.
For somebody new who maybe doesn't have as much experience, like, you know, doing comics or, like, you know, just art in general, when you started out, like, doing everything, did you have any, like, issues or any, like, you know, problems you felt when you first started, like, doing what you do?
I think it was just getting the motivation to keep going, because it's like, I kept feeling like that people just wouldn't like it, because it was just slow starting out, which every comic is like that. You can't just be like immediate audience, which I learned over time. But I found out that if you want to make like a passive comic, like something long form that you don't know when it will end, but it's something for fun that you want to do, like you just want to make it, even if it's bad in places, who cares? It's your thing, and that's what matters. I find that making other stuff in between it, I guess, helped me gain more confidence in my writing and my art and how I tell a story. Because over time, when I look back on my various everythings, I will cringe at parts, like everyone would do at their old art. But it's like some parts I'm just like, I could have written this different, or I could have changed this part or something. But making the smaller comics, I suppose, helped me like figure out how to pace certain things, what panels would be more important than others, because I found out that in other spots when I'm thumbnailing and with the final product, I would like get rid of one whole panel or maybe change a whole page layout so it could flow better, because I always saw comics as like just a more stop, but not like, you know, one of those like little toys that kids will have, like they put up against their face and they would see like an image and they would click to the next one.
What are those called? I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but if you know what I'm talking about, then that's good enough for me. I felt like it's just like a movie, but with one still image per like each time, which that's what it is, but it's like a very specific image to get as much of the scene as you can. And like a lot of people don't realize this, it's understandable, but like when you're writing a story, you have to apply a lot of movie logic to things. Like the 180 rule is like the biggest thing, because sometimes if you just flip two characters when they're talking to each other in like a scene, it just gets really disorienting, and I found that to be really handy for me to like continue my story, because sometimes it's okay to flip it, but you have to like sometimes put a transition between it to really help make it flow better.
That's interesting. I've never heard of the 180 rule before. I don't have a lot of writing experience in that regard.
Oh, it's not really a writing thing. It's like a visual thing, more or less.
Is it just like you can't and it's a little bit of a tangent, and I'm like curious. Is it like you can't like flip the positioning of two characters like just from one scene to the next because it'll be disorienting, or?
Like if you have character A on the left, and you want to somehow flip the scene of them being on the right, you'll have to like maybe do a specific transition or change the scene entirely so you could justify them being like on the right somewhere.
Oh, okay, I get that.
Like establishing scenes, yeah. And sorry about like I realized I was talking about writing, and when I got distracted, I completely forgot I was talking about writing.
You're all good. It all makes up one big thing anyway, so it's like the writing and the art kind of go hand in hand for all that stuff. So it all serves like the same similar like thing.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to hear like like it's cool you have a lot of like experience like working with stuff and like being able to like look back on things, and even some of the stuff you don't want to see can still help you show like where you've grown, what you've done differently, how things have changed over the years. Art-wise, something I actually see people ask a lot for like newer artists, and like when I ask people like, oh, what questions do you want to know for art block, it's like this is one that comes up a lot, which is the finding your style, like finding the way you draw that you feel like is you to a sense. Like I know I'll even admit I don't even have that. Like I feel like I can flip-flop everywhere, but I wanted to ask you about it because honestly, I know a Siggy drawing when I see it. Sometimes I'll scroll through Twitter and I'll be like, oh, I recognize that. Like, I don't even have to look at who posted it right away.
I guess it just... I don't know how to really explain it because I don't think about it. Like, I think I just see things I like in art and I attempt to mimic it as much as I can and apply it in my own art. Like, I know how I'm drawing eyes is kind of changing at the moment. Like, I could see where I'm, like, changing how I draw specific things, or I know I'm improving somewhere because like I guess something clicked when I started like drawing like other things over time, as I used to just stick to like one thing and not draw other stuff because I get overwhelmed way too easily when I like too many things. It's really weird, but I know from when I started drawing or became more serious drawing, it was like Naruto that was my first inspiration, but I also really liked chibi styles for a bit, and Lucky Star was one of them. And over time, I didn't like that I just drew chibi, and I wanted to draw characters looking like they aren't like just, they don't look the same, but also they look like actual adults. Because like I drew everyone looking a little too young. Which was just not on purpose. It was just this chibi thing. That was pretty much it. And I'm just like, I want to get better at drawing things. And I guess over time I saw people going, I don't see people drawing like characters who are fat or characters with like certain like physical features. And I think I'm just like, I want to draw that so that can make people happy. Like just seeing that. And I had someone a long time ago even told me that they really liked that I drew my succubus character fat when I actually didn't mean to. But them saying that made me go, yeah, she is fat. And it actually helped me improve on drawing fat bodies with that. And also finding how other people draw fat bodies as well. And everything. Like just little bits of influence and positivity really does go a long way. So, like, if you see someone drawing something and you really like it, or even if it's something that you notice that they might have not drawn before, you could be like, this is good. Great thing drawing this thing. And that could, I don't know, make their ego go way up going, yeah, I could do it. You know?
No, it's cool, though. Like, I agree with that sentiment, too. Like, it is good to, like, I always believe art inherently should, if I draw something, if I make something, I want the person who sees it to, feel happy. I like that it can bring some joy to people, even if it's just a laugh when you really need it, or if it's like, getting to see something represented that you don't really see in art all the time, or that you don't see too commonly.
Yeah, like something for yourself, or even for someone that you know. Like anything, like honestly, is good. Because I found a long time, like. Sorry, I keep doing that, but pretty much I remember when I used to draw characters all being only white, and I guess over time I started to when I started branching out, I realized that it's a lot more fun to draw characters incredibly diverse because I like to have characters looking as distinctly as themselves as possible. Because I guess for me, I have like a mild annoyance that people say that a character I draw, like one I designed, looks like another character, which is a thing that's common for a lot of artists. But for me, it's like always very specifically Homestuck, which I understand Homestuck has very much inspired and influenced my art, but it's also kind of hard to like stop drawing specific works from the thing you're influenced, and people could be like, "Oh, it's that," when it's not. But if that does happen, it's all good. You shouldn't be too angry about it, but if it does bug you, I would suggest maybe changing parts of the character design just to avoid more of that. If you could.
I can completely agree with that. I grew up watching Dragon Ball, so a lot of what I do when I'm like not really thinking too much is very like I like the way Toriyama does like facial structures and eyes and like his weird expressions, and sometimes like I try to incorporate it, but it's like, I'm not trying to do a Toriyama style. I just kind of like how those things look. So
yeah,
I understand what you mean by, changing up a little bit of it or trying to adjust it a bit more so that it's not like a one for one, or it's not like a constant like comparison to like, oh, it's just a Toriyama style. It's like, no.
Yeah.
It's a whole little neat thing when you can start like actually putting the different influences you've had through your life together and seeing what comes of it, and like just making these things we call art,
Yeah. It's a fun process. Like, I know people say art is hard, and it is, but it gets easier when you actually figure out what you're doing, and or when you figure out the thing that you've been trying to work on, then you could break that rule and do whatever you want. Because like so art is fun. Like, art is genuinely fun, and I do like it when people say that I inspired them in some way, because that's pretty much what I wanted to do growing up, because I don't know, I just thought I could do something good for myself. Not like as an ego boost per se, but just like it's a passive like thing I want to do, because I don't know how to actively help sometimes. So I'm like, a passive help is good too.
Yeah.
For me.
Just doing good for the sake of doing good. It doesn't. Yeah. You don't need another reason more to do that, I don't think, anyway.
Yeah.
And also, it's fun when you get to draw when you get to just like actually have a visualized character in your head and like, wait, I can put that on paper.
Yeah. It's great.
So, I guess the sort of final direction I want to go with Art Block is the last question I always ask is, in the times when it can be difficult, in the times when you don't know what to do or how to start or where to take something, what do you have any advice for people, or something that you personally do that helps you, like when you sometimes people need to take a step away, or sometimes people have an approach to getting through the title name drop art block that we all face at every given point. I was curious what you do when that happens to you.
I kind of just literally take a break from art. I'm like really stubborn, and I have a hard time not drawing for a period of time where I just want to keep drawing. So what I try to do is I would try to go outside a little more, or even like start drawing in a different medium altogether. Like, if I've been doing too much digital, I would start like drawing in a sketchbook using pens, and like maybe try painting and all that, like something different to help me go and get going. Because if I'm trying to also like figure out a concept, like just quick little doodles like in a sketchbook could help a lot, because I could just get an idea down, and then like if I forget about it, I still have it somewhere, and then when I look back and I'm like, oh, I could use this for this, or I want to draw this and actually work on it more, kind of thing. But I find like literally taking a walk, going outside, just doing something different helps. Like, even playing a game could help sometimes for me. Or like I've been playing Roller Coaster Tycoon too a lot more, because I find that a lot more fun when I actually figured out how to play the game properly.
the way to play that properly.
Yeah, I didn't know how to play the game for a long time. I did not know how to actually complete a scenario until like late last year. It's kind of funny. But like I find other creative like outlets help the main creative outlet for you. Like having a variety of knowing how to do other things, even if it's not as good, just doing it for fun will help, I find.
That's pretty good. That's good advice that I could give out, actually. I would say. Honestly, I think as far as like things would go, I think that's probably a really good note to end it on. Like, just if you're having issues with art, there's a lot of different ways that you can approach it. There's a lot of different ways you can take it. And just people know this from Art Block too. It's like I'm no expert at any of this. Like, I'm just an artist who wants to talk to other artists, because I feel we all have a lot that we can like learn and grow from, but also teach each other too. So I'm hoping that this can maybe be a resource to help people out too.
Yeah. Like, I know a lot of people have a hard time like with art via thinking they're not good enough, or they're too slow, or they'll never figure out how to do like this one specific thing they've been trying to work on. It's like, just give yourself time, and don't be awful to others, which sounds easy, but it's like, don't let yourself be consumed by hate or jealousy in anything, mostly envy. Like, don't be mad if someone else is doing better than you in some way, because your journey is very different and your success could make someone else's success angry. I've seen it happen where people got mad at me for being a better artist than them and they don't know why, when mostly you just gotta have a positive attitude and you gotta be kind. Like, being nice is easy, but being kind is harder. And you just gotta be kind to people, and people will most likely stick around you if you're just honest and put up, your own walls so people don't overstep their boundaries with you as well.
Right on. Siggy, thank you so much for being a guest today. I really appreciate having you here.
Yeah, no, thank you for letting me be a guest. I'm not used to doing this, so I'm sorry if I rambled a little too much.
Oh, now you're fine. Like, part of the whole thing with this is I let people know out front, like, I will probably go on tangents if conversation dictates it, so I already put the forewarning in. We can go off as much as we want.
Yeah, that's good.
But thank you again so much, and everybody, I always appreciate if you stop by to listen to this. More art blocks come at the end of every month. I am gonna keep trying to get as many of these done for everybody as possible, and I had an ending in other episodes. I don't remember what it is this time. I told you guys I would forget at some point, but this has been Art Block. You all have a lovely day.
Gravity!
Okay, go home.
Oh yeah, you hit it.
18 force.
All right, it's gonna take 18 force damage. As you see it, like, it began to raise its arm, but you sort of force its arm back down a little bit. But it looks undeterred by that. Like, that attack really didn't do much to it.
I'm just gonna take my free action to just shout, "Let me take the brunt of it, and you guys just circle around him."